Hello. I will be explaining the dissection rule in Verity, the fourth encounter of the new raid, the Salvation's Edge. This video is specifically for those who have made it to this part of the raid, but do not fully understand it yet. This video only details the roles of players on the outside during this encounter, which is widely considered to be the most confusing raid mechanic in Destiny 2. I broke this video down into 5 steps so that by the end of it, you will understand how to do dissection perfectly. At the start, outside players will see 3 statues with 3D shapes in their hands. At the same time, inside players will see the same statues holding 2D shapes. The inside players will call out the 2D shapes they see from left to right, assigning statues outside with said 2D shapes, also from left to right. Now that we have the callout, outside players now know which single 2D component they do not want in the 3D shape. To figure out which shapes we need to dissect, we first need to understand that 3D shapes are technically a combination of 2 2D shapes. Take a look at this key for a better understanding. We will call this the Da Vinci Code. You can see on the left that there are simple shapes. A simple shape is the result of the same 2D shapes like the pyramid, sphere, and cube. On the right is compound shapes. A compound shape is the result of 2 different 2D shapes like the cone, cylinder, and triangular prism. So in this example, the callout for outside is square, triangle, circle. The left statue is assigned square, so it must have all of its squares dissected. Middle is assigned triangle, so it must have all of its triangles dissected. And finally, right is assigned circle, so it must have all of its circles dissected. Now I will show a realistic example. Let's pretend that outside, this statue is the middle one, and it is holding a cube. The inside players made the callout triangle, square, circle, TSC, meaning that this statue would correspond with the square callout. Find a knight and kill it. If it drops a square, pick up the square and bring it to the statue. Dissect using that square. Why? Because again, dissecting means removing, and we want to remove shapes that match the callout so we end up with a new shape. We must remember that the inside room callout tells us what 2D shape to dissect completely. This is why we dissect a square from cube. But wait, we must dissect from another statue in order to make a change. Therefore, this statue is only marked for dissection. Let's pretend that this statue outside is on the left. It corresponds with T of the callout, meaning that we need to dissect triangle completely from that 3D shape. So we must
dissect using triangle
on left and dissect using square in the middle. The 2D shapes we dissected now switch. So what shapes are created? I'll break that down. The cone loses a triangle component and receives the dissected square from cube. It becomes a cylinder. The cube loses a square component and received the dissected triangle from the cone. It becomes a triangular prism. Now that we have dissected or removed triangle completely from left, the leftover shape is a cylinder, a 3D shape that does not include a triangle at all. We have correctly dissected from this statue. However, even though left is done, we still need to dissect the remaining square from the middle shape. There is still one more square because the original 3D shape we saw was a cube. The remaining statue outside is on right, corresponding with C in the callout, meaning we must dissect circle completely from that 3D shape. Since we already have left done, we do not want to dissect anything from it. We can only dissect from middle, which we know needs a dissection of square anyways. We want to dissect square from middle and dissect circle from right, resulting in a complete switch of the 2 3D shapes. I will break this dissection down as well. The triangular prism loses a square component and receives the dissected circle from cone. It becomes a cone. The cone loses a circle component and receives the dissected square from triangular prism. It becomes a triangular prism. Now we have successfully dissected the shapes outside and allowed the inside players to escape their rooms. Here are some tips for proper dissection. 1. A 3D shape is a combination of only two 2D shapes, meaning that it's impossible to dissect a 2D shape that does not exist in said combination. For example, you cannot dissect a triangle from a sphere. 2. Think in subtraction. Dissection is removal, not creation. For example, if the outside statue you are looking at is assigned circle, identify the 3D shape you see and ask yourself, are there any circles I can remove? 3. Only focus on dissecting two statues at a time. 4. If any two statues outside hold the same shape, always dissect once from the compound shape and once from the simple shape. For example, triangle, square, circle is the callout. Outside sees cone, cone, cube. Dissect from cone and cube, never cone and cone. 5. Always target dissecting simple shapes. Again, remember, a simple shape is made up of two of the same 2D shape. For example, a sphere, cube, and a pyramid. Now I will show a visualization alongside me dissecting in game. When the encounter started, 3 of my teammates got sent in and called out square, triangle, and circle, STC for short. I immediately noticed that a cone is held by the middle statue. A cone is a compound shape made with triangle and circle. We need to fix this by dissecting a triangle from it because the middle statue was assigned T by the callout. Now I notice that the statue on the right is holding a cylinder. I know that a cylinder is a combined circle and square, so it requires a dissection of a circle because the statue on the right was assigned C by the callout. Now that my teammate dissected the right statue, the 3D shapes change, and now mid becomes a sphere and right becomes a triangular prism. Now that I have a triangular prism on right, I can check off that statue. I do not want to dissect it further because all of its circles have been dissected. I already dissected a square from left, so all I need to do is dissect a circle from middle. My teammate dissects the middle with circle, swapping the shape's components, and creating a cone on left and a cylinder in middle. Now we have successfully dissected outside, releasing all the players from inside. After I know I dissected everything, I double check and make sure that all the shapes are correct. I hope this short guide was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. See you.